As a chapter, we have these learning sessions very regularly every month. So if you are not yet a member or if you are not on the mailing list, please do tell us. Then we can put you into the mailing list and then you can choose to join all these sessions. And we also have pretty interesting programs for our chapter members to showcase their writings as a blog, to showcase their book reviews that they come across as a coach. You can write on our chapter platform and let the world know what your insights are from the books that you are picking up. Then we have coachability, where you get to showcase your own frameworks and tools that is working for you for the larger benefit of the community. We have wonderful learning Sundays, which runs on our WhatsApp platform. So get in touch with us if you are curious, if you would like to know more about the chapter, or if you would like to be part of the chapter. And I don't know how many of you were there in the last week's ICW sessions, right? We all about 17 chapters in Asia joined together to host a series of a week-long learning sessions. I'm sure you would have seen a variety of speakers and very strong themes about how to take this coaching into a larger scheme of the society, and how do we really start building sustainable coaching missions. So Chennai also played a part in that, and our own Payal here and Nikhil were speaking on a session on behalf of the chapter. So thank you, Payal, for wonderfully speaking on that session. And today, um, before we begin the session with Bryan, I just have one small question to all of you, right? So while the chapter is listening to you, we are trying to put together some wonderful content more in terms of something that is of stimulating, intellectually stimulating for you, help you develop your own coaching skills and also get you CCUs and all of it. And we're very keen to know what is your priority as a coach in terms of where do you think your attention need to be, and how can we as a chapter help you achieve that. Okay. So I'm just sharing my screen. You will see a Menti QR code. I would welcome your thoughts. Put it on Menti. Let's see what is your top of the mind need or requirement from the chapter that can, that's an opportunity for us to help you get to whatever you want to get to. Okay. So just give me a minute. I'm sharing my screen. Is my screen visible? You
Yes.
see the QR code. So if you are able to scan and put your response, fantastic. Or if you want to go to menti.com and put the meeting number and put your response, that's also welcome. We're just keen to hear from you. That's the only objective, nothing beyond that. Or if you prefer to use the chat box, even that's welcome. Whatever channel that works for you. Wow. Starting my coaching business, neuroscience, neurodivergent, spirituality, self-awareness. I don't know, are you seeing any response on the chat box? There's a
I will
lot coming
check.
here. Yeah.
Yeah.
The AI, yes, sustain the practice.
In chat, there is one message. Let me see. Is it? Someone said, get more coaching clients.
Hmm. Yeah, whatever on top of your mind. It can be a coaching topic or it is something else that you would like to, receive some support from the chapter. Feel free to tell us. Create learning in coaching, deep listening.
Hmm. These sounds interesting. Neurodivergent, neuroscience, balance, altruism, money. That's a beautiful thing.
Learn to be a better being. Wow.
Mm. Mhm.
Excellent. Keep putting in your responses and welcome, Bryan. Thank you for your early morning
Happy to
sacrifice
chat.
into
Yeah.
helping us with this session. Yeah. So Bryan and I go back now for about a year and a half, where we were together on some sessions, and I had the wonderful opportunity of sessions being moderated and led by Brian was truly impressive. Very creative in terms of the format and the level at which the learnings can really transform, when you introduce an experiential element. So that is exactly what Brian specializes in. Brian is also a coach educator. And I'll let Aruna do the formal introduction. And Brian, welcome. And
Thank you.
thank you for your generosity in offering your wisdom to our community.
Thank you, Kannan.
So,
Yeah.
Aruna, over to you.
Thank you, Kannan, and thanks for pointing out Bryan to our session. So, and Bryan, thank you very much for your generosity, as Kannan said. I know it's very early there for you, but you've given your time, and it's a pleasure to introduce Bryan. Bryan hopes to see a coaching experience for every high schooler and professional in the world. Working as a coach for 15 years and as a coach trainer for almost a decade, Bryan focuses on making the field of coaching more accessible. Bryan is credentialed as a master certified coach with the International Coaching Federation. He coaches and supports coach development with BetterUp while owning and operating his own coach training program, which is fully accredited by the ICF at all levels 1, 2, and 3. His coach training program helps coaches earn their own credentials while preparing them to work in leadership, career development, and executive coaching. This is what Bryan sent us. Bryan, please feel free to share with us your work with students or youth or about your programs, whatever. The field is yours now. So look forward to your session.
Thank you, Rana. Looking forward to working with everybody. I love coach development and measuring the art of coaching and talking about the art in ways that makes it more tangible, measurable, and enjoyable. So when I became a coach, I was working for academic coaching. And when I was trained essentially in-house to a company, I was trained to be a coach. And so I pursued my credential. And when I got my credential, I was able to expand beyond academic coaching into corporate and executive coaching. And when I did that, I connected with BetterUp, a pretty well-known name in corporate sponsored contracts where they arrange big company contracts with organizations and between organizations and coaches. And when working with them, I quickly began supporting their assessment of coach performance and their onboarding of coaches and coach development and training experiences. So over the years, I've specialized in measuring with mentor coaching, measuring every little line in a coaching session and helping coaches learn more about themselves through that process. So some of what we'll talk about today is based on that learning. I have some slides to go through, but the main focus will be on the demonstration. So if anyone, or I will need someone to be a demo client if you'd like to be coached for, we'll probably only do about 8 questions, to be honest. We won't have the full session. We'll probably just do agenda setting and then leave you with an unresolved agenda, but it will be a part of the experience today. So if you would like to be a demo client after the slides of the presentation, please drop that into the chat and we'll have you get on stage. It would be a regular topic, could be big, could be small, something that you'd like a little bit of work on. With that being said, let's go ahead and look at some exciting slides. Now, real quick, I'm in the middle of a rebranding, which is a mess. So you might see me under Raven Coach Training or Corporate Coach Training, whichever one, those are me. Today, we're looking at how we stretch our thinking, our hearing, and our seeing, what we see in our clients. And to me, it goes back to an illustration that, I don't know, I probably heard 20 years ago from a man named Dan Miller. He was getting ready for work one day and he was just buttoning up his shirt. I always wear stripy shirts like this. So he was buttoning up his shirt and he was sitting there in front of a mirror and he was fumbling with this one button and he didn't know, he wasn't even registering it. And he finally looked down, and the buttonhole was sewed. So his daughter had sewed up the buttonhole so that he couldn't even put the button into it. And it occurred to him how much time it took for him to realize that things weren't working. His fingers were on autopilot, but he wasn't even aware of the fact that he wasn't even able to button his shirt. The reason I bring that up is similar to his illustration. There are certain behaviors that we do on autopilot every day in every coaching session on such a routine, on such an autopilot that we might not really take a moment to reflect on them, to stretch them. And with our listening and our watching of our clients, those are some of the most foundational skills that matter for a client or a coach who's just getting started, an ACC coach, a PCC coach, an MCC coach, and beyond. These are some of the most foundational skills that we have. So, all of the skills that we have, whether it's interpretation, use of silence and pause, offering challenges, reflections, summaries, paraphrasing, questions, but also seeing our client and hearing them bringing in their words into a question. So the question I always pose, especially coaches that are deepening their work, is how do you focus on developing these tools that you might have in the back of the toolbox now that you've gone through some basic training? How do you continue to refine that work? Because in the long run, I think that's what's going to matter more than anything else in our work as coaches. The witnessing, the seeing, and the hearing. This is an illustration, Kannan. You were talking about a program from last year. We were digging into this with Better Up. They did research on two of the most important behaviors they were finding that led to positive outcomes in the coaching. And those two are the use of meaningful client language and how well the coach could adapt to the needs of the client. The way I explain this is that coach training isn't about, or I should say, coach training, when you become a coach, you're usually out here in the more advisory space and then, or mentoring space, and then you expand into the space of coaching so that over time, whenever you're wearing the hat of the coach, you're really coaching. You're just coaching, and it might start out more transactional, more focused on the problem, but the more you get coach training, the more comfortable you are with the process, the deeper the coaching gets. But being trained as a coach isn't a matter of being an ACC coach, then a better coach, then a best coach who's doing it the right way as an MCC. Coach training is about expanding our options, expanding our range, so that if I'm working with an executive who's very familiar with coaching and they're really ready for deep work, I can give them a lot of space, high pressure, meaningful language. But if I'm working with someone with Better Up, sometimes the person thinks that I'm there to get them fired. I'm there as a spy for the company. They don't have much trust or safety in the experience yet. I can lean towards them and offer a more guided approach, explained approach, helping them ease into the experience. So my goal as a coach isn't to make every client be an MCC client, but to help clients by expanding my options. This idea of range, though, I think becomes very important as we look at what's happening in the field. So this is what I think the field is going to be, or is becoming as we speak, that AI is going to eat up the part of the field that can only focus on the transactional problem. Those coaches who never move beyond hearing the problem and asking targeted questions around simple action planning and like move, go, 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 fix the problem. Coaches that stay there will be, competing against AI much more. Whereas those coaches who can see and hear more effectively, who can be present with the person, help them know that someone is there with them. Bryan, we do not see the slides in full screen mode.
Yeah, there is
Coaching
there is
range.
a video issue, Brian. So the
I'm
screen
sorry
is
about that.
flickering. If you can just put it on full screen mode and share it again.
Sorry about that. Let me see if I can fix that.
I was just waiting for the right moment to interrupt you.
I'm so sorry. Kind of slowed down there. Let me see if
Does
this
removing
might.
spotlight helps?
Not really,
Okay.
because it's more. Now it's okay.
All right. Let me
Now
see if.
we can see it. Yes.
All right. Well, this is the main slide. Sorry
Yes,
about that.
yes,
So
yeah.
I'll kind of go back through that. So coaching range isn't about just being a better coach at the ACC than you're a better coach and then you're doing coaching the right way. But the goal is to expand our options as coaches. And so in the field of coaching, what we're going to be looking at more and more is that coaches who only work in the space of the transactional side won't be able to compete as well with AI. And let me just pull up the chat and have that. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Me too. All right. So the goal of our work as coaches is to outperform the machine at this point in our world, and to do that, we want to make sure that we are refining those witnessing, those seeing and hearing skills. So I'll drop these into the chat so that we can save time. But when it comes to the competencies that are most relevant here, we're looking at these particular competencies, being able to acknowledge the client's feelings, perceptions, concerns, beliefs. We can be observant, empathetic, and responsive to the client, which is one of the most important parts of what it means to be a human in the mission, a human in the coaching instead of just a machine. To acknowledge and explore the shifts a client is experiencing in the session and integrating the client's words, tone of voice, and body language. We want to bring in everything that we see and hear from the client into our work. And when we're working just on the phone versus in person, versus what we're doing here online, seeing each other, hopefully seeing the slides properly, it's just a different experience in each of those spaces. I started coaching with a crick in my neck, with a bent neck, because I had a flip phone at the time and did all my calls via phone. And then I've done some coaching in person, and the majority of my calls are remote, like a Zoom or Better Up call. With each of those spaces, there's just a different experience. And as a coach, we want to be able to leverage our hearing and our seeing as effectively as possible. When I was on the flip phone, it was a good experience, a learning experience for me, because as I'm listening, I began to hear the smile a lot more effectively. I could hear when a person was upset, frustrated. You could hear their emotion in their voice. But then when you see the person and, as they're live and together, you just see more things. So when I was talking and coaching a friend of mine who's in taxes, accounting, he was talking about retiring from his business. And as he was being coached, he kept talking about how he needs to retire in the next 5 years or so, and that if he doesn't do that, he's not sure about his health. And he kept doing this over and over again, where he had his coffee cup in his hand, but he wasn't drinking out of it. He just kept putting it back and forth on. And I just asked, what are you doing with your coffee cup? If we only have our ears, we can try hearing our client's voice and tone of voice, and we can pull those things in. And if we only have our eyes, we can usually see things that are happening a little bit more clearly: the frown, the furrowed eyebrow, the coffee cup going up and down. If we're in person, we might see the client's leg is shaking a bit. But ultimately, we want to be able to see all of our client. And the way we do that is to make space to exercise these basic core skills of seeing and hearing. When coaches pursue their MCC, it almost feels it's very simple in what we do. We go back to the basics of space, agenda setting, and using client language, how open our questions and reflections are, those core skills, but we look at them in such a human, connected way. So, what we're going to be doing here today is looking at that very, very basic approach to the coach training and the coaching experience, but we're looking at elevating these parts of the coach experience so that we make the most of every little thing that our client is doing, whatever they're saying, whatever keywords they're sharing, and whatever they're doing physically with their presence. Because the more we help them see themselves, the more they'll get out of the coaching experience. And in the long run, the better our coaching will be in comparison to an AI, to really see and help the person feel seen is one of the best gifts that we give as a coach. So, what does this mean practically? For the practice today, we're going to be doing an interactive demo. And I'm just going to split alphabetically in Zoom. Those with names from A to M will be in group A, and those with names in N to Z would be in group B. And so everyone's going to be participating. We're going to be doing breakout sessions, but instead of coaching in the breakout sessions, we're going to be observing and practicing together with one group demonstration. And again, so I'll need someone to be the demo client. What we'll do once we begin is I'll coach with about two questions. Those in group A will look away. You won't look, you'll only hear. You'll turn off your ability to see the client, and you'll only listen. And group B will mute their audio or take out your headphones. And so the goal here is to stretch either your listening or your seeing. So I'll explain this again as we get started. We'll go about two questions each, and what we'll do in the breakout sessions is send everyone out so that you'll be able to talk about what did you see if you were in group B? What did you hear if you were in group A? And it can be surprising how much more stands out when you have that targeted type of listening or watching. So that's the exercise today. It's going to be fairly interactive. Sanjukta, you will be able to listen in to the breakout, so you should be good. See and help the person be seen is the best gift we can give them. It's really going to be more and more true the more BetterUp has integrated AI into their coaching platform. Those who experience the AI they're able to resolve some problems that they have, the presenting problems, but then they want to take that experience and bring it to a person who will see them, because the problems that they're going to be bringing or solving involve having conversations with a real person and navigating difficult decisions in a group. So to be seen and to be heard is so important, even though it sounds like the most basic thing that we offer as coaches. So yes, if you'd like to be the demo client, I'd greatly appreciate it if you could raise your hand, and we'll begin here in a moment. All right. Avinash?
Avinash Matta.
All right. Well, I'll still have you going in between the two groups, and usually the demo client, you get to choose which group you'd like to shadow each time. So let me see. Let me bring you up on stage here, Avinash. So you and I will do a little bit of work together, but everyone else here, you all will be doing a big amount of work. So I'll just re-explain things. So coaches here who have their first name in Zoom that begins with A to M. So I think right now in the breakouts that I have made, that's essentially, I don't know, like Anu to or Aditi to me too would be in group A. And then those with names after that, essentially Nazima and on in the alphabet, would be in group B. So if you are in group A, your name is in the first half of the alphabet. As I begin with my first question, look away from the screen or don't watch, Avinash. And then if you are in group B, you're in the harder spot where you'll turn off your audio, mute it, or take out your headphones. If you're driving, be careful. be mindful. When we're done with a couple of questions, I'll do this timeout for those who are just seeing so that you'll know to put your headphones back in. All right. Thank you, Aruna. Perfect. Thank you. So begin. Group A, look away. Group B, turn off your headphones and just watch. Avinash, if we were to have a 30-minute session, what would you like to talk about today?
Yeah, I would like to talk about this feeling of overwhelm that I'm going through at the moment, because there's just so many things happening, and all of these things are something that I chose to get into. Some of them are voluntary, some of them are priorities that I can't ignore. And I'm sitting here wondering what's happening, why I feel so overwhelmed. So that's something that I'd like to explore a little bit.
Yeah. What's made you sign up or choose to do these things that are leading to the overwhelm, Avinash?
I think it's something that happened over time. You know, I would say by nature, I'm someone who's very ambitious. I want to do a lot of things. And so I generally am someone who's doing at least 2, 3 different things at the same time. I have my day job, and then I have my pet projects, and I have the things that I'm passionate about. But what led to the situation right now, whatever things I've chosen, I don't think it happened in one go. It's something that happened gradually. Some things I volunteered for, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to make it or not. I never heard back from them. By the time I picked up something else, and then they came back and said they want me to volunteer for them. And so, yeah, it's a little bit like that, very coincidental. What was the word I'm looking for? I'm not sure, but it all falling into place without really accounting for all of it to happen at once.
So you have this Avinash who is ambitious but gradually overwhelmed. Who do you want to be instead? Very coachy question, but who do you want to be instead?
But it's a good question. It's always a good question, you know. Who do I want to be? Definitely not be overwhelmed, but still be ambitious. So ambitious, but more focused, much more calmer, in the sense that ambitious about depth, not width. You know what I mean? So it's not like I want to do 10 things at once, but maybe do 2 things, but go really deep into them and do a very thorough job. So ambitious, but deep. I think that's a great way to put it. Yes. So that's who I'd like to be.
All right. We'll take a pause here. Avinash, thank you for being willing to be our demo client so far. We'll take a break from the stage. And what we're going to do is we're going to send everyone to breakout sessions in groups of around 4 or so, 4 to 6, we'll say. And in your breakouts, here's the goal. You will share what you saw or what you heard, and essentially what you noticed in the session so far. And then talk for a minute or two about what would be your next question that you would ask. So what you saw or what you heard, and what your next question would be. Now, I think we had some more join from the time I built these, so you might, we'll get there to the group in a moment, and we'll take about 8 minutes in the breakout session to chat. If you get stuck at all, hit the help button at the bottom, and we'll jump in. Yes, yeah, definitely put on your headphones now if you had those off. All right, so let me drop this into the chat so everyone has a bit of a guide. What did you see here? And what would be your next move if you were the coach? All right, here we go. Click. And we've got some extras. So if you are still here, I'm going to be moving you into groups in just a moment. And Kannan, did you want to jump into the room?
Yes, Bryan, I can, but yeah.
If you'd
Yeah,
like
please
to,
put me
yeah.
on it. Yeah, please
All
put
right.
me on it.
All right. And Aruna, I don't have you here in like the group. So if you want to jump into a room, you can, or we can just be available.
Just
to see
looking
what
why
else.
Ashwin and Ashish have not joined.
Yeah, it might be internet connection,
Yeah.
or they might not have clicked the button.
Just checking with you. If it is too much, you can hint me. I will make the breakout rooms next time and all. Or you're used to handling this. I mean, your wish, how you want to go.
I think we should be good now because we'll keep this set of breakout sessions from here. So in the next round, if we have anyone extra join or rejoin, if you could just drop them into a group A
Yeah.
group or group B group.
Maybe I'll join one of the group and then jump out after some time.
Yeah.
Okay, see you again in the main room, Bryan.
Right. Just to check in. Had you joined earlier or are you just jumping in? They're in breakout sessions right now.
So I got logged off, Bryan, and
Okay.
my internet wasn't the best one. So that is why.
Sure. Do you know which group you were in?
I was in
Or-
B because my alphabetically I should be in B.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me send you into a group and we'll be coming back in about 3 minutes or so. But
Okay.
they'll be wrapping up the discussion. So here
Sorry.
you go.
Yeah.
No worries. I hope it connects. Here we go. Hello, Avinash.
Hello, hey, sorry, my laptop just shut down and I left the room abruptly.
It should be okay. Do you think you'll be able to continue on with the demonstration?
I'm not sure. Let me try. The demonstration or the participation in the breakout room?
Yeah, let's see if it works. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we'll be coming back in about 2 minutes or so.
Yeah. So you meant to continue the demo, the coaching conversation? Sure.
Mhm.
Sure. No problem. But I'll
Yeah, the
do it
idea
on my
is
phone. Yeah.
okay. Yeah. Technology.
I know.
Yeah.
I hope that's okay.
It should be just fine on my side.
Okay.
Yeah, so now what we'll do is have everyone kind of switch which role they're playing. So,
Got it. Interesting.
yeah. All right.
Could
They'll be here in
you
about 30
briefly add
seconds.
me to the breakout room that I was part of?
Sure.
Even
Now that so there's a timer that's going down, so I won't be able to send you back
all
in.
right.
Sorry.
No worries. That's fine.
We are actually back.
Yeah. So some get popped over automatically, but there should be 60 seconds more and everyone will be back together. So how'd it go?
Good.
Good.
Thanks to Avinash.
Yeah. And Avinash, we'll do probably 3 more questions, then head out to breakout sessions again. And I can drop you into the same group or put you in a different group if you'd like to experience something a bit different.
Yeah, I want to be part of the same group because I just want to apologize to them. It was just very awkward. They were discussing and they were talking, and I just abruptly left because my laptop went off.
Okay.
So I didn't get a chance to interact with them.
No worries. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know who was in the group?
Cool. So if you could just add me back to that room when we do the breakout again.
I'm not sure which group it would be. So do you know who
No.
anyone's name? Okay. So if you were in the group that
Anu.
Ivanish was
Anu
in, maybe
Maria.
drop that in the chat. Who?
Yeah. Anu Maria.
Mario?
Yes.
Okay. I'll
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, I think they're back.
We're all back.
We are all back.
Yeah. Okay. I'm so sorry. My laptop shut down, so I had to leave abruptly. Just joined back from my phone.
Gotcha.
I thought it's
Okay.
part of the coaching when I admitted you.
Yeah. Sorry, Avinash. You were in our group, and once you dropped off, we spoke behind your back. Sorry about that.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
Well, on that note, Krishna, I'll be passing the ball around to everybody. So first, we're going to start with Group B, though, with those who really might not know what's going on in the conversation so far. What did you notice without knowing what was being said? What did you notice so far in the conversation? And what would you ask about or reflect on so far in the conversation? So let's maybe hear 1 or 2 thoughts from each room. Who might like to share?
So I'll jump in, Bryan.
Yeah, I was
So I
gonna-
think is what we discussed. So what I noticed is, of course, he was, touching his head or scratching his
Yeah.
hair a little bit more, fidgeting with his glasses. He looked very animated, but of course, not having seen him before, I don't know if that's his normal self or he was extra animated during the conversation.
So especially as that first part of the agenda came in, I noticed that little head scratch that happened, and we don't want to be creepy or odd with the way we call out that kind of behavior too much, but yeah, we could have said, what was the head scratch about as you were sharing the topic? Yeah, it'd be interesting to maybe explore. Thank you.
Hi, Brian. I'm happy to jump in for my group. So, some of the things that we discussed that we had noticed was, of course, similar to what Sai just said. I think the hand going to the hair was something very, very noticeable. So, we couldn't have missed that. But we also, I know that I noticed a little shift in the beginning when he started the conversation. And we also noticed a little bit of hand gesture, open hand gesture, as he came to perhaps some kind of an insight or he was explaining something. And the group also mentioned that they noticed him laughing and there was a change in energy and there was a relaxation that seemed to have happened. So, those are some of the things that were noticed in our group. I hope I've covered everything. Please jump in case I haven't from my group.
Good,
Yeah. Thank
good
you.
work. Thank you for sharing, Payal. Yeah, the laugh came with a very coachy question around who do you want to be instead? That kind of question. So, and seemed to shift the energy.
Yeah, may I
Yeah.
also belong to Group B? Adding to what Payal said, we noticed the same. But in the end, we also did notice that he was thinking, he was recalling something. So his eyes were moving further away. And when he did recall something and when he tried to explain something to you, he looked straight at you and he nodded. And when you nodded, and then he started continue to speak. So that was an affirmation that, yes, you understood. And then he started continuing to speak.
I didn't mean to do that.
Yeah, but that was
It's interesting.
That was that, yes. And
Wow.
Also, like Payal said, he got comfortable during the last part. We could see that he was comfortable and he trusted you. He started sharing.
Mm-hmm. It did seem like more is coming up more openly by that third question. Yeah. Let's see. Anyone else from Group B, or is that one from each group in Group B? Okay, yeah, that's great. Perfect. If you'd like to share some additional pieces there that you observed, feel free to drop those into the chat. For your sake, I'll drop my notes. They're not it's almost like a transcription of what happened. I don't encourage coaches to take those kind of notes with coaching sessions, but for the purpose of our training, that's what I tend to do. But in Group A, so the 3 breakout sessions with Group A, what are some of the things you noticed as you were just hearing? What stood out to you, Krishna?
If I can.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. The word overwhelming, there kind of came across as a overriding emotion, repeated at least 5 times. That was noted by my group. At the same time, the associated emotions, it kind of seems to be lacking. It is too early to decide because we don't know the person yet. We have not built a deep conversation. But the kind of language around overwhelming chaos and the tone, kind of somewhere the emotions, the lack of depth was seen. Maybe we decided that we want to a little bit double click further. That is what. And emotions as such, voice modulations and all those kind of little bit sounded more subtly. I wouldn't say mechanical may not be the right term, but that kind of little bit didn't see much of a fluctuation. So we didn't want to rush to any form of a decision. Right. And other thing is that when the person said, kind of looking into a lot more priorities and all those things, there seems to be a little bit of lack of remorse. Maybe initially I felt a little bit of a sense of a pride, but then slowly as the problem statement unfolded, it kind of became commensurate that yes, the chaos was slowly becoming unmanageable. Right. So we also wanted a little bit follow through on that. The other thing that was also felt is a little bit of a contrast when the person said this is the way the person is ambitious and wanting to kind of do multiple things. At the same time, all of a sudden getting to a mode that I want to go more deeper. So our group actually felt that there is a bit of a contrast. So it's high time that we kind of little bit ask the participant to double click on the meaning of depth. What does the person mean by going deeper? That is one of the questions. The other question also could be in terms of what would happen if the person does not feel overwhelmed. Or the other way of putting a little bit of a different question is, if the person wasn't overwhelmed, how else would person be? Right? I think in short, these were the things that we did have, but it was quite a good experience in just listening And also at the same time, thank you, Avinash, kind of being the brave volunteer. And we also had the honor of him being as part of our group.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's very good to be able to have demo client walking with us. So, yeah. Thank you, Krishna, for sharing.
Bryan,
Who
can
else
I
from
add?
Group A? Ela? Yeah.
I think
Jump in.
first time each one of them came out with a different point they may add it, but first feeling is we, without looking at the face, listening to the voice was a totally different experience. Absolutely different. When we look at the thing, we'll pick up the things and then be ready to the next exploration. Today we have dived deep inside the voice, which means we understood the emotions in the voice. We listened to the emotions. We listened to yes, as Krishna said, the words of overwhelming was repeated, and there is a back and forth was happening in his emotions. Probably I would have asked him a question, what is underlying this going forward on that? So to sum it up, it's a beautiful experience. Difficult to stay away, not looking at it and listening only to it. Excellent. Thanks for giving it. And over to my other group members. Anybody else to add in?
Thank you for sharing. Me too.
Hi, Bryan. So in our group, we had 4 members: Arumugam, Annie, and Babu, Raj, and Kanan. So all together, what we felt was like the starting was low and slow, and there were more pauses when he was explaining. As he was, we felt as if he was thinking. He went there, like what he was explaining, and there was a lot of stress when you asked him that funny that you said coachy question. So
Yeah.
suddenly he jumped from a very low state to like a better state, and then he started talking and explaining to you as if he were talking to himself, is what I felt without looking at by listening to his voice. How I would go further on this. So there were two perceptions. That one, some of us felt that we should let the person be in the same state and go with an appreciative inquiry. Like, how has he handled, like, has this been happening earlier, and how maybe he has tackled it. And then the next would be giving meaning to what he wants, because he kind of found an answer in depth. So what would depth look like for him? So is from our group. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I've got a plan for the next 2 questions. Although I need to be careful about being able to change that plan as we start. Okay. So we're going to get back into the coaching. Gotta find Avinash. There you are. We're going to get back into the coaching. And what we're going to be doing is now group A will take out your headphones or mute your audio. And then group B will look away from the camera. We're just switching our roles. So whichever role that you were, you're going to switch essentially when we get started here with Avinash. And we'll do pretty much the same thing, 2 or 3, probably 3 questions, and then head out to breakouts to do another round of reflection on what it's like when you just have that one part, the ear or the eye. So again, group A, you'll mute your audio, and group B, you will, let me bring on Avinash. You will look away. There you are. All right, Avinash, thank you again for being the volunteer client today. Your energy did shift a bit when you were talking about that deep ambition. What would it feel like to live in the deep ambition? Oh, it's on mute. It's on.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah. It's really good sound, noise canceling. So, yeah.
Got it. I was saying to master or excel at something is what I would find deep ambition as, because you're not trying to do 10 things at once. You're just doing 1 or 2 things and you're going really deep. You're mastering the nuances of that craft. You're excelling at everything that you do within that craft. And you're challenging yourself. You're breaking the limits. You're breaking the boundaries. I think that is what would be the definition of deep ambition.
So what's maybe gotten in the way of going from the breadth to the depth?
Lack of patience, because I pick up something and I try and progress in my journey with that. And then I feel, oh, maybe this is not getting me what I want. And then I jump to something else. And so I want to be able to do multiple things at once because I feel something or the other will click and it'll fulfill um, my needs or my wants, give me that satisfaction that I'm looking for. So it's that lack of patience. Instead, if I switch to being patient and have faith that just keep progressing towards one particular goal, and that will lead me to that success or to that satisfaction that I'm looking for in life.
It's a bit of an observation. Your energy got a little bit lower there as you were describing it, and yet you are able to describe so well that you need the patience to get to that life satisfaction. I'm going to ask a bad question because we're not going to have 30 minutes left. But if we did have 30 minutes left in the session, what would you want by the end of that time to help you reach towards that satisfaction?
Just give me 30 minutes.
I think if we had 30 minutes to explore more, I know I will get to that satisfaction eventually, but what I need to get there, like I said, is that patience and that faith. How do I exercise that? What are some tangible practices that I should do to be able to exercise that? I would like that to be the outcome.
Mm-hmm. What are some tangible practices to exercise faith? Yeah. Good work, Avinash. And we're going to do our timeout. Like I said, we're just going to, we're not going to necessarily coach much more after that. We've just unpacked the situation and now we're going to talk about the coaching, but I do really appreciate you being willing to share here. And so again, timeouts, we'll get off the stage and we're going to be heading out to breakouts again. These are going to be about 8-minute breakouts. So going to invite everyone to again share what you heard or what you saw, and then what your next movement might be. Now that we essentially have our desired outcome, which we'll all hear. If you didn't hear it, you'll hear it soon. But now that we have a desired outcome, what would you ask about as we get started? So again, about 8 minutes, and then we'll come back for some more discussion. Here we go. Avinash, did you say Mansi was a part of the group that you were part of?
I think it was Anna Maria. But it's okay if I can just stay here with you in the main room. That's fine by me.
Whichever one you'd like to.
Yeah, I think I'd rather just stay here if that's fine.
That's fine. Yeah. And thank you again, Avinash.
No worries.
Yeah, now I just want to coach you.
I know. This is, I feel like I'm missing out on the experience of just listening or just watching.
Yeah, and that's why it can be good to join a group that did the just watching if you'd like, just to hear what they saw, if you'd like.
I'm not comfortable with some of the comments that are being shared. It's just making me feel a little weird. So, which is why I chose not to join a room this time.
You're good. You're good.
Yeah.
Let me send you, I've got another version of this that might allow you to participate in a different seat as an observer. It's a past version that we did somewhat recently. I'll send it to you. So that way you can watch a demo as like that outside participant as well. It's an interesting exercise, and I recommend groups of coaches to practice, like if you were in a group of 3 or 4, to be able to practice with that focused approach. Like what happened with the one observation where I didn't even notice that I nodded when like I had no idea that happened. In the recording that I just linked to you, the client was talking about his oldest daughter is heading to college. And what they said was, as he was talking, I started doing this a lot with my chair. And they said, it seemed like you're uncomfortable, Bryan. And it's like, oh, my daughter's heading out too. So I didn't even
Yeah.
notice. And when coaches are just in that watching spot, it's interesting what they see. They see a lot more.
Yeah.
The whole idea of like scratching your head, like you said, it's a bit awkward maybe to have the comments, but
Yeah.
but it is interesting what we end up doing automatically without
So
knowing.
I think once when we shut one of our senses, the other ones automatically get heightened up and pick up much more information.
Hmm. So how can we recognize how much we might be missing if we don't include both a bit more? And I think it's especially seeing that gets set aside in favor of what the words are or what's being said or what we think might be being said under the surface, and just to miss out on those opportunities to see the body language shift.
Just a quick question, Bryan.
Yeah.
Are we done with the coaching, or are there more
I think
questions?
so. I think we'll be done with the coaching because we'll do about 4 more minutes in breakouts, about 10 minutes of discussion, and then I'll say some final words. So you don't have to worry about being on stage. If anything, I might ask you once everyone is back and done talking about what they saw and heard and what questions they might ask you. Those questions almost create a bit of exploration for you as a client. You're not being coached, but they might stimulate some thinking. At the end, I might say, Avinash, what are you taking away as a client today from the little coaching that you received? So I might ask you that if you'd like to.
Sure.
So,
Sure, that's
yeah.
fine. Yeah, the only reason I was asking was I assume that this is a 1 hour session.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
I just need to get prepared dinner as well. So I'll just try to do that on the side if that's okay. And I'll
Yeah, that's
turn on
fine.
my video whenever you need to interact with me again.
Yeah, and you could have it off video if you need, Avinash, whatever works best for you. I know
All
it's
right,
pretty late.
sure.
Yeah.
No worries. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, hello. The rest of the crew will be here in about 80 seconds.
While others join, Bryan, just a curious question.
Yeah.
Drinking coffee during a coaching session doesn't mean anything?
It can. Everything means something. So
Okay.
if the coach or the client is drinking coffee, at what point are they taking a drink? I would probably say, for me personally, I'm drinking it as a way to buy time or to feel more comfortable. I know whenever I'm coaching on a stage, I'm a little bit more nervous than a regular session. And so I know this, it's almost like a shield. I can hide behind it a little bit as I'm waiting for that next movement or question. And like I said, with my one friend, he kept going back and forth, and it was more of he was talking about retirement. So we're just talking about drinking coffee while coaching. He was talking about retirement, and he was stuck in between, do I retire now or in 5 years? And the coffee mug was stuck in between him and the table. And so we laughed about that in that case. So yeah, I was saying to Krishna is that everything means something. So I'm not sure what the coffee mug might have been doing during my session, but everything means a little bit. So we will take a little bit of time again in the two groups, starting with group A now, who was just watching. Have some coaches share, what did you see and what might you be interested in sharing? So I'll bring you up here. Hansi, jump in.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. So what we noticed in the group was that he had his mouth covering he had his fingers covering his mouth almost all the time. We know that he had the mic, but even then, it was right there, as if almost like the keep quiet sound, symbol. And the other thing that people noticed was that there was some surprise, there was some raised eyebrows, and there was also a lot of animation, so yeah, that is exactly what we noticed in our.
Yeah. I was wondering what would be picked up because the microphone being right there. And so to be able to see, when you said animation, where did you see the animation?
There was a range of emotions, from his eyes going small to his eyebrows, and then there's a lot of movement of the eyeballs as well to the right, all the time, so to me, it was like a kind of conflict that there was within, with this and the eyeballs and all of that. So, yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
what the conversation was.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. Or we're like when you're in the seat you're in, you're like analyzing what's going on here
Yeah.
without hearing the full picture. But yeah, conflict with two parts of the self would be a good description of what we were looking at. So thank you for sharing, Mansi. Who's next from Group A?
Yes. Am I audible?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so when you asked the first question, then he kind of got immediately into the reflective mode. He kept his hand here. I was like,
Mm.
okay, like I'm thinking something. And then I saw a lot of element of surprise, those caricatures, like putting the eyebrows up. And that happened a couple of times. And his eye movement were mostly in the constructing part, like thinking what to do. So his eye movements were going on the right and a couple of times to the left also. Whether he was connecting with the past or just it was random, I do not know. But mostly it was in the thinking, reflecting side. And he somewhere it was interesting because I could understand what he's saying because I have watched videos. It was just out of curiosity and entertainment that watch videos and understand what the person is saying. So some lip syncing I could understand, and because you asked up and so I could understand depth and width. So
Yeah.
some part was that I got a little distracted. I can say I was looking at you too,
Mm-hmm.
and there was some laughter in between. I don't know what, like, oh, got it, something like that. So towards the end, it was like, where are you now? Like, okay, I'm here, something like that. So yeah.
Yeah. We were talking, Vinesh and I were talking about how in the last time I've done this presentation, the client was talking about how his daughter was heading off to college. And as he was describing the agenda, I started doing this. And it's because, and so the coaches were like, what were you doing, Coach Bryan? And it was because I was uncomfortable. My daughter's also heading out, and life is changing. So yeah, the way we show up shifts too. And it can be good to have those extra eyes on us from time to time. So thank you, me too, for sharing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yes, this time seeing Avinash, we felt that it is like compared to what we heard, he is more expressive. Now, a little bit, we are able to connect back to his voice and then the emotions, what we see. Now, a little bit of more connection, we felt we were able to see, make with him, given the fact that we concluded that he is more expressive. And our group also noted that initially, for the initial part, it was kind of getting into eyes were moving left side and up, maybe a little bit of trying to recollect more, get into constructing something back from the visual memory. So maybe whatever the coach is asking, it is also making him think, a little bit reflect back from the past. Right, and a little bit of head shake and speaking faster as it moved along, kind of stuff. Also showed bit of an energy shift. Slowly, he started becoming natural and getting comfortable with the conversation, and there was a flow that we could actually see. And we also, participants also did note that he was a little bit coming close to the screen once, twice, suggesting bit of a change in energy shift. And overall, thinking, reflecting, but got into a flow of the conversation, which was actually good. So these were some of the things that we did observe.
Yeah. Yeah. And with the eyes, we could say something like, I'm really noticing your eyes are looking back or looking over. What are you seeing? And just kind of helping the client unpack what might be behind the behavior a little bit. Yeah. Thank you, Krishna, for sharing. Aruna, we are about 10 minutes till the end, so we just want to say we will check in with Group B for some of the things you heard, but also want to make sure that you are filling out the Google form for feedback, and I'm guessing that's also for confirming participation. So do you
Yes,
need to speak
Bryan.
about it? Yeah, go
I
ahead.
just keep the link, that's all. You carry on with the thing. They will answer. I mean, they will take care of the Google form later.
Perfect.
I just need to upload the link.
Yeah, that way everyone will be able to to fulfill requirements for the program. With that being said, Group B, what were some of the things you heard? Sai? Yeah.
Yeah, so I think what I shared in the group was essentially the voice and the energy level didn't match what I saw as an animated person in the first part of when I was able to only see but not hear.
So some sort of dissonance or difference.
Yeah, it's just little voice was low and lot more pauses and thinking. But I just thought maybe that's in response to your question. But certainly one thing is what was noticeable to me was that the image that I had from the visuals didn't match the voice and you could say that the pace and the tone in which he was talking.
Yeah. Energy was shifting back and forth. Is it Shweta?
Yeah. I completely agree with what Sai said. For me, the first time I heard him, it was like, this is what you sound like. And he was very reflective. We felt he was very reflective in the beginning. But when you asked him about the outcome, his energy did shift. It was almost like he visualized what he wanted. He was very clear about it. Something like when you want a mango from a tree and it's far away, that was the first part where he was feeling reflective. It was a low energy vibe. But when he could visualize touching the mango and plucking it, his energy shifted. And that's what I
was surprised by the language of tangible practices to exercise faith in the depth, in the deep work. Like the language that we had there with Avinash was very strong, and it did seem to really focus in. We don't want to be so fast with the desired outcome question that we miss out on the deepening of the agenda, but it felt like it was like, okay, time to go in a way. And of course, we're not going anywhere. So unfortunately, hopefully this exploration has been helpful. Maybe one extra share from Group B. Well, I will go ahead and pass it maybe to Avinash, if you'd like to. What are you taking away as a client, maybe?
Yeah.
If it works for you to jump in for a little bit. Yeah.
I think I'd like to share two things, what I'm taking away as a client and what I'm taking away as a coach, both. If I'm allowed to share that.
You are very welcome to share. Yeah.
Thank you. I think as a client, I realized I'm someone who's eager to volunteer. And I just like to do that. Even at the beginning of the session, when you kept asking for a demo client, I was like, someone might just volunteer. Nobody's volunteering.
Yeah.
And I told myself, count up to 5. If nobody volunteers, I'll just raise my hand. And I did it. And the deeper we got into the conversation, I realized, oh my God, that's it. That is the thing. I'm eager to
That's
volunteer.
the thing you're working on.
I know. I love to raise my hand all the time. So that's where it's coming from. But it's fine. So that's what I took away as a client. I just realized about myself and what I need to do about it. But I'm happy. What I'm taking away as a coach, this is just an observation, not a learning. I think after the first breakout room session, what I heard when everyone was sharing their observations, and I could be wrong here, I felt a lot of assumptions were coming up. Whereas after the second breakout session, I could hear people saying, oh, we are either able to put 2 and 2 together now, or we are not able to connect. And so we need to understand this better.
Yeah.
I think that for me was, as a coach, I realized how important it is to pay attention to everything, what you see and what you hear. So, and thanks to you for this incredible session. I know I was a client, I was not able to participate like the other coaches, but I think I still somewhere took away that importance of seeing and hearing both.
Yeah. And thank you so much for being willing to be the volunteer, even though that's the thing that we need to work on with your further coaching. It's been wonderful having you on the stage today. Thank you. Yeah. And we can never, just like to maybe wrap up with some final thoughts. We can never get away from our assumptions We must make assumptions in order to determine what language to use from the client, the kind of question we might ask, where that question might take the conversation. So we're always acting on assumptions, but we want to make sure those assumptions are as close as possible to what the client is actually expressing, so that we aren't taking the client towards our assumptions, but trying to move towards to their thinking. And that's the value of seeing and hearing at that deeper level. What are the specific words that we heard? We heard faith, patience, depth versus breadth, and volunteering and ambition. These are key language pieces that we want to be able to carry forward in the rest of the conversation. But we also have the up and down of the energy that we can watch and explore together with the client, the back and forth of the eyes as well. So being in a space where you can see and hear client, and to provide that as part of your presence as the coach, it's again the gift that you give that AI won't be able to give, that you are able to see the soul of the other person on display and walk with them. So with that being said, I'll send over my slides to the crew if that's helpful, just for further learning. I do encourage coaches to consider reciprocal coaching, where you're intentionally stretching, especially with groups of 3, or transcription review, where you can watch the recording. And as you look at a question that might look at a bit of depth, what other things do you see in the video or read in the transcript that you could also bring into the question? And experiment, even with clients, maybe. Because sometimes the client might need to work on their ability to see and hear their team. So you could almost create a practice environment within the coaching session itself in partnership with the client. My own programs, I have regular level 1 and 2 programs. I have an upcoming June level 3 that's 7:30 to 9:30 IST on Wednesdays. And I also have free coach training materials. I'm always interested in making coach training as accessible as possible. So I'll drop a couple of those things in the chat. But really the main goal here today is to learn together. And I just greatly appreciate everyone's willingness to participate today, to learn together. Aruna, I'll pass it to you as we wrap up here.
Thank you, Bryan. That was a awesome session. I'm sure all of us will agree. And I would invite Ilan to share his thoughts on the session and formally thank you. Ilan?
Thanking is not a word. I would say that even up this level, 30 plus people are there. That shows the interest. When the topic came in, using the eyes and ears, we were wondering what is the learning. Absolutely beautiful. And you made us to be on the toes, and you said that the simple eyes and ears can be a different tool in coaching. Hats up to you. Thank you for joining at this odd time and inspiring this. We definitely love your passion to make coaching more accessible to everybody. That's a great vision of yours. We wish you all the best. If we can be a part of this, that will be great. I would love to thank Avinash also. It's very difficult to join as a open-ended client and then get assessed by all of us. Great, thanks a lot. Simple technique. You brought coach education, beautiful brand. Thanks a lot. We look forward to few more interaction. Thanks, Aruna, for organizing this. Looking forward further more learning. Thanks to all of you. Bye.
We request everyone before you drop off, please switch on your videos for a nice pic. Meetu is waiting to click our pictures. So give us your nice smiles.
We can make some nice gestures also, whatever you'd like. So I'm making 1, 2, 3, go. And this one more screen. The hearts again. 1, 2, 3, go. Yes. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bryan.
Thank you, Bryan.
Have a great day. Thanks for your help.
Take care.
Thank you.